What's up YouTube? What's up KI colleagues? My name is KI for Life, aka Mr. Ultra. And welcome to the ultimate beginner's guide for modding Killer Instinct, the Windows version. Now modding has been around for about 4 years and people like Uncle Vester and Luigi have paved the way creating tools and videos showing us how to mod. Here's an example of Uncle Vester showing us the hidden secret costume of Glacius. Pretty cool, huh? He also made a few videos showing us what tools there are and how to use them. Now, initially modding was only available on the Steam version of KI. And it was good old Charlie Boy who showed us in this video how to mod and put mods into the game. Now, most recently, UU Insight has been going crazy on Twitter showing his mods on the Windows version. Here's an example of him replacing the Rash model with Fulgor and doing his taunt. He was also able to mod the training stage, and here's an example of the Street Fighter 2 Ryu stage. And he also created a Pepsi Man stage because apparently he likes Pepsi Man. Big shout out to UU Insight though for explaining me how mods work and also doing the review part of this video. Another big shout out goes to Alex V for letting me use his music into this video and giving me some awesome tips on the sound department. Now why this video? Why now? Because I truly believe this is what the KI community needs to jumpstart the modding scene. The information is out there, but there is not one single guide that explains everything from beginning to end, explaining every part and letting people understand what the hell is exactly going on. And I believe, and that's the goal, that if we have more people for modding, then we can thrive and get all the custom things in it that we want. Imagine custom costumes with your personal flavor in it, custom music and custom stages. It's possible. But it starts with the beginning, and this is what the video is about. Hope you will like it and enjoy. Now, before I continue, I would like to ask you for a small favor. It took a lot of blood, sweat and tears to create this video. So if you like what you see and want more modding content from me in the future, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, and don't forget to use the bell button to get notified on any future releases. And as always, thank you so much for your support. And finally, it's disclaimer time, so if you decide to mod, you will do so at your own risk. If anything breaks, your PC, your game files, your pet, don't blame me, it's all on you. You take full responsibility of your own actions. I've used the files and without any problem, so if you have any issues with your PC, don't come crying to me about it. That being said, if you do have questions or you need a helping hand, feel free to hit me up in the comments below or on social media. Now, with that out of the way, let's get started with the tutorial and happy modding! Let's freaking go! First, we need to locate the Windows Apps folder. You can find this in Program Files under Local Disk. If you can't see it, go to the right top, enable Hidden Items. There you see Program Files, click on it, scroll down and go to the Windows Apps folder. Click on it, but you don't have any permission. Continue, go to the Security tab, then go to Advanced, click on Change, and enter your window user. If you don't know what your window user is, I will post a link in the description so you can find it. Once you have it, click on Check Names, OK. Tick the Replace Owner on Subcontainers and Objects. Click Apply. Now what it will do is enable you as Windows user to access this Windows Apps folder. So once it's done, click on OK. Close the windows. And we're going to try and get into the Windows Apps folder again. We'll give you a warning, but click on Continue. And locate the Microsoft Killer Instinct Windows 10 folder. This is the name. Click on it and you will see the game files of Killer Instinct. Now, while this seems good, you cannot write or put any files in it. I will show you. If I want to drop a text document, it will say I don't have permission. To enable mods in Killer Instinct, we need to dump the game outside the Windows Apps folder. For this, we need UWP Dumper. Follow the link in the description and download the x64 version. Unzip it. And put on desktop. Then after this, we're gonna create a new folder on the local drive. In my case, I chose C Killer Instinct. Next up is to dump the game file into a temporary folder. Let's open Killer Instinct. Let's let it run in the background. Then go to UWP Injector. This is a tool to dump the game files. Enter the process ID of Killer Instinct itself. In my case, it's 10428. It will be different every session. If you hit enter, it will start dumping the game files to a separate temporary folder. This will take a while, so just let it run. Alright, the dump has been completed. If we check the dump folder and click on dump, you see the game files that were copied from Windows apps. The target location is the local drive. We're gonna copy them from the temporary folder. Open Window PowerShell as admin. Use Xcopy. The commands are in the description below. The first command is to copy the folders. As you can see, the folders are now there. And the second command is to copy the content of the folders to the new destination. This will also take a while, so just let it run. And when it's done, like now, you will see all the game files from the temporary folder to the local drive. Next up is to restore the permissions of the Windows Apps folder. So go back to Program Files, Windows Apps, right click, go to Properties and the Security tab, click Advanced, and here you need to find the Windows user that we have enabled. You can recognize it by the single user icon. Highlight it, click on Remove and Apply. Okay, after this, go back to the tab, click on Change, and use the user that I have put in the description. It's the trusted installer. Click Check Names. OK. Tick Replace Owner on subcontainers and objects and hit Apply. This will restore the permission back to its default setting. We're going to check it once it's done. So now hit OK. Close all the windows. And if we now try to access the Windows Apps folder, it will say you don't have any permission. Next up, we're going to uninstall Killer Instinct. To do so, go to the Windows search bar and add and remove programs. Type in Killer Instinct. It will show up. Click on it and select uninstall. This will also uninstall the temporary folder with the dump files. After this, we need to go into developer mode. Again, use the Windows search bar. Type in developer and it should pop up. For me, it's a Dutch translation, but for you, it should be developer mode. Enable this, click yes. And after this, we need to do something important. We need to go back into the local drive, for me, C Killer Instinct, and remove the app metadata folder and also two files, app.x block map and also app.x signature. If you don't do this, then installing the game will run into an error. To install it, go to Windows PowerShell in this folder, open as administrator, paste the command that I have in the description below, type enter, and it's done. Killer Instinct is now installed on your local drive, and to prove it, we're just gonna run the game. As you can see, all your stats and unlocked costumes are still there. Congrats! You are now able to run KI locally and you are ready to mod. Now before we continue with how to do the actual modding of a costume, I want to step back and show you through this chart what it is that we are actually trying to achieve. By having Killer Instinct run locally, we now have access to the game assets folder. In here you'll find the game files for normal and retro costumes. Stages as well, but those will not be covered in this video. These game files are in .pack format and cannot be edited. To edit .pack files, we need to extract individual costume files into a separate folder. Once this step is done, we can access the texture files of the costumes, which are called KI text files. These files cannot be edited in Photoshop or GIMP. For this to work, we need to convert them into direct draw service files, .dds. A program called Noesis is included in the KI modding toolset to do this. When KI texture files are converted to DDS, we can now open and edit the textures in Photoshop or GIMP. I will show you how to edit specific parts of the costume, but also an easy way to edit the entire costumes with just a few button clicks. I will also share some tips on how to make sure the file sizes are correct. After changing the costume to your liking, the next step is to put the modded DDS file back into the KI texture files using HexEdit. At first, this will seem like a very technical and intimidating part, but once you understand what is going on, it's actually very easy. The last part is to merge the KI texture file back into the costume file of the game, .pack, so that the game will show the modified costume instead of the original one. I know it's a lot of steps, but I will explain them in detail and will show you this chart throughout the video to let you know which step is being explained. Let's do this! First, we need to download the essential files for modding. Grab the Killer Instinct modding toolset from the Google Drive. All links are in the description. Click download and save to desktop. Next, grab HXD and a hex editor to merge Photoshop files with the original files. Go to the link and grab the version with your preferred language. Save to desktop as well. If you are a Photoshop user, you need the Intel TextureWorks plugin for Windows. The download link is on the top right. Save to desktop. If you do not have Photoshop, no worries. Try GIMP, a free and open source image editor. Go to gimp.org and download the program. Next, let's install the files that we just downloaded. First, let's start with installing the Killer Instinct modding toolset. Click on it, extract the content to your local Killer Instinct folder. In my case, it's C Killer Instinct. Then we need to extract HXD setup. Extract to desktop. After this, we will go into the folder and run the setup. Accept the agreement. Don't launch it yet. I will explain later how to use this tool. Then, after this, if you are using Photoshop, you need to do this next step. You need to install Intel TextureWorks. So extract the plugin to your desktop, go into the folder, go to Plugins, X64, and here's the plugin. Copy it. Then go to Local Drive, Program Files, Adobe, Photoshop, Plugins, File Formats, and paste the plugin here. Now when you run Photoshop, it will automatically have the plugin available. Next, we're going to show you how to extract a character costume file. Go to the Killer Instinct folder, go to Game Assets, Pack folder, DX11, and here you find all the game files for costumes, but also stages. We just scroll down until we reach the costume files. Those you can find with the split character tag. And if we scroll down some more, we will also see the retro costumes. So each costume is a file. In itself, you cannot do anything with it. So we need something to extract these pack files. In our case, we're gonna do or mod a Hisako costume, her default red costume, color 1. So we copy the file, go to Killer Instinct folder, and input. This folder always needs to be empty unless you're extracting something. So in this case, the Hisako costume 1. Go to extract packs. double click it, and this will extract the game file to the extracted folder. If we go in, go characters, Hisako, and there we have it. All the game files for costume 1 are now here. These are texture files, but also KI matte files, which we cannot edit or mod. I'll show you next how to mod it. In order to edit texture files, we need to convert them to DDS files. Open Noesis in the KI folder, open the program, then go to the folder with the textures, which is Killer Instinct, extracted characters, and then your character. Now you see all the texture files available, and basically you can edit any file that you would like. If you double click on a file, you see the preview, but you have to convert them to DDS first. In our case, we're going to focus on the CM file and the Fresnel file, CM being the costume file and Fresnel being the reflection file of the costume. To convert them, right click on a file, click export. Main output type would be DDS, like this. Export, you're done. Then go to the second file. We do the same again, export, select DDS, and now these files are ready to be opened in Photoshop or GIMP. Now that we have the DDS file converted, let's open them up in Photoshop or in GIMP. But one thing before you open the DSS files is to check the files of the CM and the Fresnel. In our case, it's 10.9 and 1.3 megabytes. Remember that. Okay, we're opening the DDS files. Select them both. And then open it. If it prompts load transparency as alpha channel, click OK. And here you see the textures of both the Fresnel file and the CM file. Now basically any part of this texture file you can edit and add a color and it will show in the game. Since this is a beginner guide, I will show you how to select a specific part first and edit the color of that, and also a much easier way to change the whole texture file in one go. So use the Magic Lasso tool to highlight a specific part of the texture. And to edit this part, you need to have the properties window open. Go to Adjustments tab, go to Hue Saturation, and you can play with the setting to get different color outputs. In my case, I chose blue. And if I would save this and merge it back into the texture file and then the game file, it would show up as red and blue. Now this is a lot of work, of course, and it takes some precision and some Photoshop knowledge. So here's the beginner and a way easier part to edit the whole texture file. Just go to the properties and Hue Saturation, and if you play with this setting, the whole texture will change color. In my case, I'm gonna make a very dark black charcoal Hisako. So I'm playing with Hue Saturation and also the brightness and contrast. This is the CM file. The same I will do with the Fresnel file. Adjustments, Hue Saturation, all the settings to the left, that will make it black. And also the brightness. Next up is saving these files. Let's go to the CM file first. Go to File, Save As. Just overwrite the file as DDS file. You don't have to change the name. Click Save. Click Yes. For the texture type, it's color plus alpha. The compression is BC3 8BPP linear. And the bitmaps is auto-generate. If you click preview, you can see the file size. In this case, it's 10.7, which is around the 10.9 we saw earlier. So this is good. Now it's saved. Let's do the same for Fresnel. File, Save As. Don't change the name. Click Save and then OK. Or Yes. Color plus alpha, BC3, bitmaps on auto generate. And if we click on preview now, we see it's 2.7 megabytes, which is twice as large as the original one. I'll show you here. And this is incorrect. You have to make sure it's around the same size. This is twice the size. It can also be twice as small, but then you know that you have to change the setting of the texture type. In this case, to make it smaller, we just do color, BC1 for BPP, and now you see it's 1.3, which is the size that we want. Click OK. And now the next step would be to add these changed texture files back into the original texture files. For that, we need a hex editor, which we downloaded earlier. Open up HXD or any other hex editor. Then open the DDS files from the extracted characters, and in my case, Hisako folder. Besides the DDS files that we edited in Photoshop or GIMP, we also need the original KI texture files. In our case, it's the CM file and the Fresnel file. Once opened, I like to order them next to each other, the DDS file and the original KI texture files, to prevent mix-ups. So that's what we're doing here. Always start with the DDS file. And for the DDS file, the first 8 lines are redundant because those are part of the header. So we always start at line 80. Select the line with the left mouse button, hold shift, scroll all the way down. And the last 4 digits are also redundant because that is part of the footer. Scroll a little bit up to see if you selected everything, right mouse click, copy. Then we go to the original KI texture file. Here we scroll down until we see the file name, and we select everything after the dot of the file name. In this case, we can recognize it by the double 0 digits. We select everything after that. So left mouse button again, hold shift, scroll all the way down. We don't select the last 4 digits. So click left of it, check if everything is selected. Right mouse click, and this time paste right. And if you did everything right, it should fit seamlessly. Click save. We have another example for the Fresnel. So the DDS file, the first 8 lines are redundant. Select everything from the line that ends with A. Left mouse click, hold shift, scroll down. Don't select the last 4 digits, click left of it. Right mouse click, copy. Then we go to the original KI texture file. We search for the file name again and select everything after the dot of the file name. In this case, you can see that after the double 0, there are 3 digits that follow. So we select those and everything after that. So left mouse click, hold shift, go all the way down. Don't select the last 4 digits. Click left of it, right mouse click, paste right. Everything should fit just fine. Save, and now we have edited the original KI texture files with the modded costume from Photoshop or GIMP, and now we need to merge them back into the game file. Next, we are going to install the modded costumes back into the costume game file. To do this, let's go to the 2 costume files that we just edited in Hex Editor. Go to the extracted characters Hisako folder and go to the files that you have modified. In our case, it's the CM file and the Fresnel file. Right click, copy it, and go back to the Killer Instinct folder, mod, recolor, characters, and here create a new folder. In our case, it's Hisako. Put the files in here. And after that, go back to the Killer Instinct folder and right click the install pack file and open in Notepad. Here you see the command lines to run the script. The first line, the top part, you can pick anything you want, it's not important. The second line is to create a backup folder where the files will put after you run the script. The most important lines are the third and the fourth one, and I highlighted the parts that you need to edit with colors. So I'm gonna explain what the character name is, the file name is, and the character costume file. So if we go back to the folder where we have put the files, you can see that the folder name is called Hisako. We just created it. So the character name in orange should be the folder name. In our case, it's Hisako. Then we highlight one of the files. In our case, it's Hisako_CM. We put it there in the yellow part. And then for the blue part, we need to put in the original costume file that we have extracted. In this case, it's split_char_Hisako. So we put that there in the blue part, both in the third line, but also in the fourth line. Now, after this, we need to copy the third line again and create another one, because we have two files that we need to merge back into the game. So if you have one file, you have one line. If you have 10 lines, then you have 10 files. We copy Hisako_Freshnel, replace this, and the rest stays the same. So after this, don't forget to save this file, and then you're basically ready to run the script. For this, go back to the Killer Instinct folder, double click on install pack. It will run the script, and then the game file should be modified. To check this, go to Game Assets, Pack, DX11, and you will see an updated timestamp of the modification. Boom! Here you can see the modded black costume of Hisako we created, replacing the original color one in the game. I personally think it looks super cool with the Ultratech accessories. What do you think? And this is how you mod costumes into the game. Finally, I'm going to show you how to remove mods once you install them. For this, you need to go to the input folder and copy the original costume file that you selected to extract. And note, there can only be one costume file in this folder, so you always have to empty it after you extracted it through the extract_packs file. So in my case, I'm going to remove the costume file for Hisako by cutting it, so the folder is empty. And in the backup folder that was created by modding a costume, I'm going to select a new folder and name it original. Any name is fine as long as you recognize it as the original costume file. Paste it here. And now to go back to the original state, copy this file. Go back to Game Assets, folder pack, DX11, and just right click and paste. Choose replace the file in the destination, and it will overwrite the pack file that you modded. And I'll show you in game that Hisako now is back to the original color one, which is the red color, and the black modded file is completely gone. And there you have it. This is how you easy uninstall a modded costume and go back to the original one. And this concludes the ultimate beginner's guide for modding Killer Instinct, the Windows version. I hope the video was useful to you, that you learned something today, and that you are inspired to give modding a go. Together we will achieve great things. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments below or on social media. Since this was only the beginner's guide, there was only so much I could cover. There is literally so much other stuff that I would like to tell and explain to you. So stay tuned for more modding videos in the future. And for now, ultra that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hopefully see you next time.
Target spotted. This should be quick.